Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 110. Today is Monday, June 5th, and I am so excited because we are talking all about something very new, well, new to me, and new, I think, to a lot of us out there. Hi, I'm Donna V. I'm the producer of Minded Mystics, and I'm so happy to be here on this beautiful summer evening. So you all know that we have a lot of just special guests that come on. In fact, we have a special guest coming on the 26th of this month who I'm not even going to talk about yet. You're just going to have to wait until we just put it all out there on our socials. But tonight's special guest is someone who is truly special to us. She is a member of Open-Minded Mystics. You know her as life coach and relationship coach, Kim Mazzella. But I know her as a great friend who is an explorer and a seeker. And tonight she's bringing something new to us and new to the table. I'm going to bring out Miss Tracy Locke right now, and we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Hey, Donna V, how are you?
I'm wonderful and loving this weather, and everything is just woo.
We're all feeling, looking a little summery. I've got my Hawaiian feeling wow.
Yeah, you have a glow to you too, girl, and I've got my lemon earrings.
I know, I love it. How are you feeling? Are you ready for the summer?
I'm making my lemonade out of my lemons is what I'm doing. That's why I'm wearing these as my reminder.
I love it. I love it. Well, I am so excited for tonight. And Open-Minded Mystics fans, you saw what I put up. I said, oh my God. First of all, Triple M Treats, love you.
We love you. Yeah, just like Triple M Treats. If you guys want to comment, just go right ahead. And if you want us to post it, just include your name. Thanks so much.
Yes, and we love you, Triple M. He is the best. So anyway, what I was saying was that I put up today how excited I am for today's show, because if you don't know, now you'll know. But there is a thing called the Akashic Records that I've heard about, and I've dipped my toe in as to what they are and what they're about. And Kim, who is one of our mystics, is going to be talking to us tonight about the Akashic Records, about what they are, how they work, and how she works them. So if you don't know what they are, you need to stay tuned, because it's a fascinating story. If nothing else, just to find out what they are and what they represent and what they are about is going to be exciting. And then let alone know someone who is learning how to read them. Yeah. That is unbelievable. Donna, do you know anything about them?
I do know a little bit about them. I know that they are the records of, I want to say, not just humans, also animals. And it's I just want to ask her, but I feel like something ironic is happening. I watched the movie Arrival last night, and it's about how time is it's not linear. Or is it linear? It's everything goes on.
Everything's happening at the same time.
And I think that that's similar to the Akashic Records. And I did not mean to watch that because of the connection. But that is my life.
What do you mean? Explain that statement. Hold on.
What I mean is, when I have something presented to me in my life, it always shows up because I manifest it, right?
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, today I had really good news about Tommy and just different things about life. We're doing a show about the Akashic Records. I watched Arrival last night, and I just feel like there's this flow going through my life.
That's awesome. Maybe I don't know. What's Arrival about? I don't know that one.
Oh, Arrival is about these 12 pods that land on the earth in different parts of the world, different parts of the globe. And they start talking to these extraterrestrial beings. And actually, what is her name? Let me think of her name. Wait, I can look it up actually. But this actress who is amazing. What the heck is her name right now? I'm going to have to get Kim out here. Well, she's a linguist. She's a professor. Oh, Amy Adams plays the linguist.
Okay.
And she has to learn to communicate with these beings. Chris would love this movie, right?
Right.
And it was fascinating, but I really cannot wait to get Kim out here, because I think that there is a connection to the Akashic Records and to this movie.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
Did they mention it in the movie?
No. It's not what I mean. I just mean, for instance, if I said to you bread and I said to you cake, what would they have in common? Similar ingredients. They would have flour and eggs. And I think that the Akashic Records have something similar to this movie. Okay. I know I lose most people, but I usually don't lose you that quickly.
I know. Wait a minute. Where is this going?
Because there's a connection.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. I just didn't know if like the Akashic records are actually in the movie because I would be like, wow,
I
that's
don't know. I want to know. They don't mention the Akashic records, but the extraterrestrial beings, the way that they are discussing how life really truly is, I think is the Akashic records.
oh, okay. All right.
You want to bet
Okay.
me $5?
No, I don't. I've never seen the movie. I wish if
No,
I
but I'm
knew.
just saying. I know that sometimes I go for the stretch, and
No, I am with you on this. Well, listen. The bottom line is this: those of you that are watching, get some popcorn, get some Triple M treats, which is
yeah.
chocolate, get something good to drink, settle in for an amazing show. Before we go into the show and you bring Kim out, can you talk about Tommy because people maybe don't know who Tommy is? Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the show, Donna just disappeared. Is that part of the Akashic Records? Is this all happening at the same time? Are we indeed?
Akashic records. I love that Triple M treat said the cheeseful.
I love him so much.
It's a
He's
taffy
so
pull.
funny.
It's a taffy pull. I
Yeah,
don't know
he's
what
just
happened right there. My computer went.
well, I thought like time was happening linearly and it was like string theory all just went. That's what I said. It's all happening at the same time. And maybe Donna just went somewhere where it's all happening to start
Yeah,
over. I don't
exactly.
know. I
All
don't
right.
know.
All right. So
Tell me about Tommy.
you want me to talk about Tommy before we bring Kim out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell everyone who Tommy is.
Okay. So March 8th, I'm going to do this as fast as possible.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to give the
I'm not
whole
going to get into
background.
all of it. I'm not going to get into all of it. I
Oh, okay.
promise.
All right.
March 8th, I rescued 2 dogs out of a garage and I kept them and I had them and I helped them, housed them, loved them, and tried to nurse them to health. And I stayed in my salon for 5 days. And when I realized I truly could not do that because as much as I would have liked to foster the dogs, they needed way more attention than I could give. So I reached out to an amazing woman, and her name is Robin, and she runs a foundation along with other people called, ready for this?
Yeah.
It is Rescue Haven. And Rescue Haven is an amazing organization that helps dogs, but mostly my friend Robin helps dogs in need of health, help. So she's a medical foster. She's an angel on earth, no joke. Yeah. So if you see what I'm doing here is I am hosting a comedy show on June 24th. The cost is $45. That includes your ticket to come in, a pasta dinner with, some salad. It's a cash bar. There's some raffles. There's opportunities to buy things at a bake sale, which include even dog treats. And it's all the money, all the proceeds are going to help Rescue Haven because from the time that they took the dogs, they really had gone to such great lengths emotionally and financially. So Charlie, unfortunately, lost his battle in life, and he he crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and he left this time and space reality. And Tommy was sick, not sick, I'm sorry. Tommy had a lump removed. It was benign. So therefore he was able to be put up for adoption. And guess what, you guys? Today I got to say my little, I love you. And I send you off like well wishes, Tommy.
He looks so good.
Oh, he's so sweet. And this is the angel on earth whose name is Robin. I gave him that little neckerchief to wear something cute for his new owner, which I cannot really talk about yet until they make the announcements. Right. But I want to just say thank you for everyone that was supporting me during that time, supporting the journey. And also, if you could continue to support us, Rescue Haven could use your help. That is a picture of Charlie in the picture. That night is going to be incredible. It's called The Big House Unplugged. So, of course, Robin's husband, why wouldn't he be a musician? Why wouldn't he have a band? And why wouldn't they be off that night? And he's volunteering for the first hour to play some acoustic music. So we're going to have $45. You're going to get acoustic music for an hour. You're going to get dinner. You're going to get a show with a great lineup of people. Myself, I'm hosting Christine Grillon, Mike Sicoli, and headliner is Sean Morton. It's going to be amazing. It's the Greater Essex Lodge on Bloomfield Avenue near Lynn's Nissan, if you guys are familiar with the area. And it is going to be hilariously fun. And I cannot wait.
That is a great lineup. And you can't beat that. $45 for a whole night out. You get dinner, you get music, you get live comedy. And you're helping out all the doggies and kittens. I love that. Rescue Haven.
Yeah.
Which is, Donna is one of those heroes. But the people that do foster for medical for animals are an unbelievable breed. Because if you don't have animals even, or if you do have animals, you know that veterinary care is extremely expensive,
Yes.
extremely expensive. So for somebody to take that on, not even really
Not
knowing an
knowing,
animal,
right.
is an unbelievable, like you said, angel on earth. So anything that you can do to support them would be greatly appreciated, and that's super cool.
Look what she gave me today as a present. Ready? It says,
Oh,
"You left paw prints on my heart." And that's
oh,
me and Charlie.
little
And
Charlie.
in that locket are some of his ashes.
Oh, that's really, really sweet.
How incredibly honored was I when she gave you that gift?
That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
I'm going to
That's
put him with
awesome.
Yogi.
Yeah, they can play on the over the Rainbow
Yeah,
Bridge.
exactly.
That is awesome.
So, all right. Well, I want to learn more about the Akashic Records, okay? Because
I do
I have no
too.
idea. This is like, I'm so excited. I don't even, I'm going to take it down. Let Kim talk about it more.
All right, before Kim comes out, I just want to make a disclaimer. I am sniffling and sneezing. My allergies, I don't know. Are your allergies? Do you have allergies?
Not that bad, but here we go. No one's going to get anything virtually. Isn't that great?
Yeah, but my allergy, it's not, I'm not sick. It's like allergies, but I'm just going to say that I may or may not be blowing my nose, and I will put myself on mute.
Well, you can
But
go in the
just
green
know,
book room if you want to go in the green room if you blow your nose.
no, I
Yeah.
can just go on mute, but I just want you to know
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
doing. I'm not laughing or throwing up. I'm just blowing my nose. All right, but I
All
can't
right.
wait to
What a
see them.
wow, what an intro for Kim. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing, and I'm not throwing up. I'm blowing my
I'm
nose in
just
honor
blowing
of
my
my
nose.
friend, Miss Kim Mazzella.
Bring her out, 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 bring her out.
Hello.
Hi,
How are
Kim.
you?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Missed you guys.
You
Oh,
heard that
yeah.
incredible intro. We just are so excited. When you said to me, I'm learning to read the Akashic Records, I was like, holy guacamole. I have wanted to know about them ever since I found out about them, which was, I'd say, probably like 5, 6 years ago. I was speaking to someone about it. Then I started seeing videos about them, and I've heard different podcasts about them. So we are so thrilled to have you talking about them, Kim. We love hanging out with you anyway. But can you just say, like, let's start from ground zero. What are the Akashic Records?
Well, I'm going to tell you what made me even consider it because,
Okay.
I have access to guidance, right? And so I've been an energy reader for a really long time, and I do a lot of meditation, and in that meditation I get guidance, and I understand our emotions are always giving us instructions, blah blah blah. So I the other day
I like blah, blah, blah.
So the other day I have a mentor that I work with. He works in a business that my office is in next to his office. So we've been kind of meeting on Fridays and just kind of getting together to keep each other inspired. And I mentioned to him, I just do so much, and there's so much that I'm interested in. There's so much I love, but I feel like when it comes to my marketing, it's because I do chakra healing and energy healing and relationship coaching, and there's just a lot I do. It's really hard for me to figure out what's the most important one for me to focus on. And he goes, well, have you ever asked the Akashic Records? And I'm like, no, I have my own guides and stuff like that. And he goes, well, what are they telling you? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I want to do it all. He goes, maybe you should consult the Akashic Records. And I'm like, well, I don't pay for readings. I don't like to go get readings because at one point I had an addiction to that. So that's not a good thing for me to do. He goes, do it yourself. And I'm like, do it myself? What a great idea. He's like, do it again. I go, well, how do I do it myself? And he gave me a book. It was called How to Read the Akashic Records by a woman named Linda Howe. And she even has videos online. And then I found out there's controversy because there's some people who don't like her stuff and some people who do. And there's other Akashic readers. Find your own, whatever you vibrate to. It works for you. But she has something called the pathway prayer. And there's a lot. So with the Akashic Records, and I want to read what it says because it would take me so much longer to say what's so nicely written right here. They're a dimension of consciousness that contains a vibrational record of every soul and its journey. This vibrational body of consciousness exists everywhere in its entirety and is completely available at all times in all places. And then it says, as such, the records are an I can't say that word, body of knowledge that contains everything that every soul has ever thought, said, and done over the course of its existence, as well as all future possibilities. So everything you've ever done, everything you've ever said, every life you've ever lived, if you believe in them, and I do, is in a record. And in that record, you can have access to it, but it's a very different type of information that you'll get than information that you might get from your daily guides or your inner guidance. This information is much more big picture. So you don't go to the Akashic Records and say, will he call me? Because that was, when I used to do a lot of energy readings, I used to have people, they would say, is he going to call? And I used to be like, probably not. He hasn't called yet. But
yeah,
but
you're like, but
yeah,
that's just a hunch. That's not
right. It's just a hunch. Probably not. But the Akashic Records are more about what's the purpose of his not calling, right? So what's the purpose of that relationship? So I thought, yeah, I'll try it. So I started reading the book and I found it really interesting. So when you access the Akashic Records, you're getting information, and the information is given to you from what they call the Lords of Records, the Lords of the Records. And they are vibrational beings that have of a higher dimension, that have only lived in that higher dimension. And their job is to protect the safety and security of the records. And then you're also working with the masters, and the masters are also beings, according to Linda Howe, that have never had a physical life. They're vibrational beings, but they're interested in your records, right? And then you work with the loved ones and the teachers. The teachers and the loved ones may have had lives, may have known you. I think, but they may not have been your mother or father or something like that. There have been people who decided to take interest in your journey. So there is a specific prayer that you do to access the records if you follow this path. But I do believe that Edgar Cayce, have you ever heard of Edgar Cayce?
Yes.
Edgar Cayce was the original reader of the records, and he didn't know the pathway prayer. He did it on his own through trance, and he would go into a trance and people would write down what he'd say, and he'd come out of the trance. And what they'd find is a woman might have a difficulty. I've read a lot of Edgar Cayce's work, and a woman might have difficulty with her husband and go to Edgar Cayce, and he'd say, in these past life, these were the lessons that you were learning. And in this life, this is what you're allowed to learn, what you're poised to learn right now. And the thing is, we have free will. We can learn it or we don't want to learn if we don't want to learn it.
Right.
So one of the things that they say is, in order to access the records, you do have to meditate before. And she has a pillar of light meditation. That's a great meditation, which I found out I've been kind of using. So I wonder if my original teachers of meditation knew some of Linda Howe's stuff, because I'm like, this sounds familiar, this meditation. So, but it's about getting your body into a pillar of light. It is online on YouTube. It's a 6.5 minute video. If you're interested in doing it, go to YouTube, look up Linda Howe Pillar of Light meditation, and you will find it. And it's good. So it's good. I mean, actually, she's very calm and loving, and she's like my new mom.
Yeah, there you go.
So I really have enjoyed listening to her. So the first time I did it, well, by the way, one of the things that they say is you can't read for anybody else unless you've asked. And there's a very specific way you have to get in. You have to use your full legal name. And if you want to read for anybody else, you have to use their full legal name. Okay. So now I'm still in this training period. So in order to, it does suggest that I do readings for other people, but I can't charge them. And not that I would, I'd be terrified. But
Tracy and I are totally in for the free stuff.
Can you do a reading for Donna right now?
No, I don't think I could, because I'd have to meditate and all of that.
Oh,
but
okay,
like how Tracy just said to me, she threw me under the Akashic bus. She was like, let's see what happens.
But I mean, I definitely could give it a shot when I get better at it. Maybe I'll come on and do some readings.
I'm open to it, Kim.
Yeah, but I'd love to do it for each of you individually.
Kim, did you hear me from the background say that was the movie Arrival, like any kind of...
It's funny. I watched that movie. I loved that movie, but I can't remember that movie. But I do remember you got information about you. Well, the Akashic Records are always changing. They're always updating based on what you're doing right now and the choices that you make. Right. So I do think they're interactive, but I do think we're here with a purpose and a plan. We set up a plan to come here, and life is hard, and life knocks us off our plan the second we get here. And I mean, they told me some stuff that made me go but it was very loving. So I want to tell you about my experience. So my experience in the Akashic Records when
Oh, sorry. I want to piggyback on the big
I'm like, la,
Oh,
la, la, la,
we
la.
look like
Okay.
Easter Island.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
exactly. You look
So
very
I
serious.
kind of, it's funny because I kind of was skeptical, right? Like,
Yeah, sure.
you know, I'm like, okay, you know, I'll give it a shot. I'll try anything once. Okay, so I did the Pillar of Light prayer. I did the Pillar of Light meditation, and then there's a specific prayer that you're supposed to say a specific way. Some of it's read out loud, and some of it you say in your mind. So I did the specific prayer after I did the Pillar of Light, and I just closed my eyes, and I got nothing, like nothing. And I'm like, this doesn't work. And I was about to get up. And I'm just like, just breathe and stay there. And then now here's the thing. This is my experience. So I'm going to share my experience.
Okay.
I'm a person who has meditated a long time and has gotten information in a lot of different ways. So my experience will probably be different than your experience when you do the Akashic Records. Just know whatever you get, if it feels true for you, it's true for you. So the first thing that happened to me was I kind of got overtaken by a really amazing peace. Like I felt like I was high, but like in a really good and conscious way, not like floating, like just so good. My body started to feel very relaxed. So that was the first thing that I noticed after I kind of let go of this isn't going to work for me because I'm the only one in the world who it's not going to work for. So I had to kind of work through that subconscious ickiness to just like surrender. And when I surrendered, I got a very peaceful feeling. And then I felt like I was walking through a tunnel. And at the end of the tunnel, I felt like I went through this door and the door opened and I felt like I walked up steps. And then they were like white marble steps, like I was outside. And then I walked through another curtain and another curtain. And I was in a very white room. And it was kind of like an amphitheater, like you might expect to see in Greece or something like that, like that. But it wasn't
not the movie The Country.
Yeah,
no, and it was white, so it wasn't like a old timey. Like everything looked like almost marble, so it's very white feeling when I went in there, and I could tell that there were people sitting, but I couldn't really see them. And in front of me, there were like flowers and there were drums, but I couldn't see anybody playing the drums, but I started to hear them. And it was just like, and then I was in the middle of this room. I was just in the middle of the room, but I couldn't really make anybody out. It wasn't like I could see anybody. And then I heard, why don't you write this down? So I opened my eyes and I wrote my question and then I closed my eyes again. And then I closed my eyes again. I started to get a feeling and then I started to write and I wrote like 12 pages of notes. And it was
automatic writing.
Yes, but it was just like it came pouring out of me and it was so weird and so cool that when I was done writing it, I had to close the Akashic Records. So there's a very specific way that you had to close the Akashic Records. And then I just like kind of went for a run around my block because they said not like a run, like just to get the energy out because I was so overcome. And the information I got was so different than what I expected. And it felt like it was given to me word for word. So one of the things that they say is the question that you ask when you go into the Akashic Records is very, very important because it's like they'll give you a sliver of information. It's like you shine a light on that piece of information, but there might be information here and information here that you can't get if you don't ask your question right. So I asked my question and I got some information and then I was confused. So I wrote down another question and I got some answers to that. The information itself, I don't know as important as the feeling as being in the Akashic Records, because when I was done, I was so calm and I felt so much better directed than I went in there. Did I have my complete answer? No, but did I feel much better directed? Yes. So my answers were things like this. basically they told me in no uncertain terms how I had been blocking myself from receiving my answers, right? So they were saying, you're dabbling in things that you should be focusing on, and that as long as you're dabbling in things, you're going to get dabbling energy. And and it was like, right? Like I was like, but it was so lovingly written. It wasn't like mean. And so I didn't feel like it was mean. But when I really read it back, what I got was what they kept saying, you need to stay in the light. And the more that you stay in the light and speak of the light and talk to the light and talk of the light and share the light, and they kept saying, you are a light worker. You've come to share a light. And when you're dabbling in the light, you'll get dabbled light back. And I was like, It was so not what I was expecting them to say. But
So wait, how did you know what to ask? So you just I know you said it's really, the question is very important. So how did you know?
Well, I had played around with the question. And so the thing that I asked was, what is the most important thing for me to focus on my journey of being a teacher and a healer? And they said, it doesn't matter what you focus on something. All of them are important. But the thing is that you're dabbling in all of them, right?
Ooh.
Right? Is that you're dabbling in all of them. Yeah. And one of the things they taught me was really my job and why I'm here. And actually, they kind of told me that I've had a lot of lifetimes of being a dabbler, and I've come to this lifetime to focus. Right.
You know what's crazy?
What?
There's two types of ducks, right? There's divers and dabblers.
No.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So like, I love birds, right? And like, I have this thing for them. And I went to see friends, actually Glen Ellen, a couple of years ago in Florida. And her wife is a docent, like the kind of person that brings you around to like a museum or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or hers is like for the birds.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two different ducks. And they both like coexist, and they didn't like really come up and say one was more important, but it's very interesting to go with what you're talking about. You can be a dabbler or you can be a diver. And I think what they're saying to you is it's time to dive. Like if you continue to dabble, you're going to stay exactly where you are at the level that you're at.
Right. And they told me that I've dabbled every time I was meant to dive.
I like that. That's awesome.
I love it.
Wow. So, but this is not anything I thought of. I thought they were going to tell me.
Good job, Kim. Good job. You're doing it.
They're like,
you're like, what? I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, you're like, what is it ever enough? I know.
No, but I think what they were saying that I need to focus my attention on one and figure out because they're all things I could do. Right. And they can't tell me what to focus my attention on. They're all important. But what I need to do is dive into the light and just be there. Just decide, they're not going to make that decision for me.
That's not easy.
But yeah.
That's not easy, because how do you live a normal life and be like, I picture you having to be like a priest.
Yeah.
So what you started to talk about that, what kind of what are some of the rules? Because I'm assuming that as you dive into the Akashic Records, that there has to be some rules. Like
there are. Let me pull them on. I mean, the ones I remember are, first place, you're not allowed to read for other people. You can't drink before you read.
Okay.
For 24 hours. Which literally on Saturday I still wanted to read, and I'm like 6:30. I am not drinking. I am going to.
She's like, I'm not dabbling. She's getting hot. She's like the Akashic Records. They're turning the heat up in the hall of Akashic Records.
Better not joke around. Let's get serious. No,
but I've been reading them now pretty much every day for quite a bit of time, and the more I read, the more First place, the more I feel like, now I haven't finished the book that she wrote, but apparently you can heal in the Akashic Records. But if anybody's out there interested in going into them and just read that book, sitting in that space, I feel so calm when I come out of it. They do suggest that you exercise or do some sort of grounding technique when you to ground that energy, because in it it's highly it's just this heightened state of feeling really loved. It's almost like you walk into this room where you feel like, like, you know, they talk about a safe place. Like,
Yeah.
so for me, not everybody has this, and I understand, but for me, my mother is my safe space, right? She is a really good mom. Like, if you're watching this, mom, you're an awesome mom. And she wasn't always, and she'll know that too. I mean, she really wasn't. She grew with me. She was my first student, and I was hers in some ways. But she, as I started to learn this, went on this journey of healing, I took my mother with me, and she really did. She was actually a paying client at one point, just because I showed up for her fully. She didn't pay me my full price, but I felt like it made her do the work. It made me show up, and it made it a much more professional experience. It's like that feeling when because my mom doesn't live in the state all the time. So when I see her for that first moment, I feel like, right. That's how I felt in there. Like that feeling of like,
wait, can you repeat again the name of the book and the author for those people that are tuning in late or who didn't write it down?
I'm just trying to put it up there for everyone.
It's How to Read the Akashic Records, and the author's name is let me just make sure.
Linda Howe.
Linda Howe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's not a new book. And he said to me, this is such a short book. Why not read it and do it? The person who suggested it to me. He said he sometimes does. He teaches a lot of different things. He does a lot of cool stuff. He says sometimes he'll start his day in the Akashic Records and work with his clients who don't even, he's not doing Akashic readings in the Akashic Records, because it's just such an more interesting way to go through your day. I don't feel ready to do that because I feel like it's an intense experience. I don't know if I could just go through the rest of my day in there, but it was such a phenomenal experience, and it really has been. And it's really interesting because every time I go in there, I'm hoping for specific answers, and I get so much more. It doesn't really give me specific answers when it's not going to tell you what you should wear tonight, or what's the best diet for you to go on. Well,
right.
It might. The good questions to ask in the Akashic Records are why and how and what, maybe. Like, what's the best path forward for me? But just be prepared if you go in there. It's not that they're admonishing. They're just not. I feel like it's a land of no BS. They're very clear and concise with what you need to do. Right. So
if
I'm confused. Yeah, you go.
Well, Kim, so explain that. So when you say they, you are literally getting, do you hear a voice? Do you hear voices? Do you hear so when you say, am I on the right path and what do I need to do? And then you just sit.
So I'm going to tell you how it worked for me. But remember, I do a lot of energy readings, and I am definitely clairaudient. So I hear voices. But I'm also clairvoyant-ish. Not as clairvoyant. I would say my first strength is clairaudient. I hear mostly, but then I do see things. But the seeing is never as clear for me as the hearing. And
isn't that interesting that you are clairaudient
and you can't hear regular?
I know. I've always said it.
That's fascinating. I think that's so cool.
Right, because I'm hard of hearing.
That's so interesting and cool.
Yeah, I definitely am going to find out that answer in the Akashic Records the next time I go in there.
I do think
that wasn't the question you asked.
I know, right?
Fascinating.
Well, I've said that twice now today. I've got these new hearing aids. By the way, hearing aids have gotten so much better since I was young, because they're so much better and so much louder than they were before. I didn't realize how much I wasn't hearing with my old hearing aids because they're so much more refined. Like, over the last 20 years, the hearing aid industry has kicked some hiney. And good job, Otakana.
Good job, hearing aid. Really quick, I want to just say I'm going to put this picture up to answer your question, Tracy. But look at the color that I chose. Swear I didn't know. And look at the color of the Akashic Record book.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
So there's a lot of different ways to get in there. And if you're interested in how specific they could be, everybody should look into Edgar Cayce. He's called the Sleeping Prophet. He's so fascinating. I've read a lot of his books. He tells you in a lot of them, it's unhappy couples, and he'll talk about the lessons that they learned in different lifetimes. And he really got so specific in different lifetimes, explaining stories about what happened. I haven't gotten anything like that in the Akashic Records, but I also don't, I feel like it's been a very personal experience about what I came here to learn. And so one of the things that they told me I came here to do was to be a light worker. And part of being a light worker for me is to get to really walk the path of light. And that I have to, some of us can go to our jobs and not feel it, right? You can go to your job and maybe you're not happy, but you could still probably do comedy. Right. You could kind of, I don't know, maybe you can't.
Comedy, I think, is a tough one. What do you think, Tracy?
Yeah, maybe not. But maybe if you're a computer programmer, you can go to your job, still do your job, and not necessarily be in the best space.
Right.
But for me, in order for me to do energy readings or to do, and I've had some times where I've really not done a good job, right? So in order for me to really do a good job at my job, I have to be in a great space. And so one of the things they were talking with me is about different ways for me to get into that great space. But they did say, try not to get out of it. That would be really a good way.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
Right. One of the things they talked about with me was about not dabbling on the path of light. Right. I have to stay on it. Right. And so
what are ways that you have to stay on the path of light, though?
Well, they were very, complaining, feeling sorry for myself, feeling not trusting what I can't see with my own eyes. Right. Okay. Because I think that if you really want to work with energy, and say you're an energy worker and you really believe in manifesting and all that, then really you should probably never worry. Right. You should probably, but it's, welcome to being human. It's really quite a task to trust. And it's such a task to trust.
Yeah.
And so that's the path that I'm on. But I definitely am going to read you guys. So maybe next time we get together, we could talk about how that went and what it was like. But I will say this, that for me, I felt the Akashic Records worked so much better when I started writing it down. Like I could hear it better. It was clearer, but not everybody's like that. But I'm also a writer, right? So I'm always writing and I'm always journaling. And if you really love to journal, that might be a way. And I felt like once I started writing in the Akashic Records, I saw it more, I heard it more. I was able to hear the words, and they were given to me kind of like one at a time. I didn't know what the next word was going to be as I was writing it. It was really.
So the Akashic Records it's a being, it's an energy.
I think it's an energy. I think it's a kind of a record, a recording. It's like a vibrational recording.
Okay.
I don't think there are books in there, but I expected to go into a library and see books.
Yeah.
Right. Then when
I expected it to be like this big, huge room of files.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was walking down the hall, I was expecting to walk into a library. And when I walked out onto and there were people, I was very surprised. I was not where I thought I was going to end up. But, if you might do it, you might end up in a library. I mean, just because that was my experience and what I visualized doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be what happens to everybody. I would love if anybody ever reads it to come on and tell us their experience.
Well, did you talk to the gentleman that you were working with who said to you, why don't you try it yourself? Did you ask him?
His experience is totally different. His experience is totally.
So let me just get this.
I never asked him if I could share it, but it sounded very different than mine.
So just for people that are tuning in, and we're talking about the Akashic Records, I just want to get it straight so that it's straight in my head, and I'm sure you went through this meditation, and then you ask the question.
No, after the meditation, I opened
the prayer.
I had to say a specific prayer, half of it out loud, half of it in my head, with my name, my whole name. it's very specific words. And then you say, now the records are open. And at that point, you felt the records are open. You can go in and ask questions.
Right. And then as soon as you say the question, say it out loud, you felt yourself like, you know, in your mind, go to that spot.
No, I felt for me, it came more through my hand, right? Remember, because I saw that, but I didn't feel like I was getting anything. And then when I heard write it down, it started to come. And then it's like comes through my hand. And I felt it felt this surge of energy through my body. Now, the person, Mike, that gave me this information doesn't write it down. He feels it. He sees it and hears it.
Wow.
But, so I think everybody's different.
Sure. That makes sense.
But,
so I was trying to get the imagery for Amazon, or where I did get the imagery for Amazon, but I wanted to let you know too. What I thought was interesting was they are, because now you got me like, I want this. I want to do it tonight, and I could do it in an audio download because I just started using audiobook. I'm behind that because I just would rather buy books and never read them. So now I'm gonna like buy them and never listen to them. So and it takes up a lot less space anyway. So but it's interesting because it says the pathway prayer process is a password for admittance into the records. Yes. The pathway prayer process is like a password for admittance into the records. And it also says how to work with your MTLOs, your master teachers and loved ones. So for
and teachers.
Right, which is very cool.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten to the part about healing because I was just interested in being there. So I'm going to really, because I got to tell you, when you're in there, if you can remember that the first second I went in there, I'm like, this is nothing. Why am I here? Like, right. But I stayed, and it became the most impactful thing I have done this year. It has become, I feel like I could be a Akashic record junkie, because when I go in there, I feel better than I've ever felt. I just feel so calm and so protected and so peaceful as they're giving me information about telling me to stop dabbling in my life.
That's fascinating, though. That's so.
And being
I gotta go now.
I had a lifetime
exactly.
kind of not doing. I've had many lifetimes of not getting out of the dabbling phase, right? And that this is the chance I have. Like, this is your time to focus. There's no one's going to come and do it for me. I have to focus. I have to make these decisions to really focus my attention on what I want to create. And so maybe I should tattoo focus on my
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all started.
My wrist.
Well, I'll tell you what is interesting. I know for me, I feel very drawn to letting it flow, right? But I do also, I'm very much the person that will panic, over like the normal human existence part of life, right? Which is, how is this going to work? This is not going to work. Or financially, how am I going to do it? And then it does show up, right? And I'm not saying, like, for anyone that's watching, like, oh, I've got like oodles of cash dripping from my feet. But
please don't mistake that.
But I do actually. But no, it's just it's very interesting because, I'm moving the salon, right? And today I had to go to help get my landlord in because he wanted to show somebody the space. And the wild thing is, I know the person that's looking at the space.
What space? Oh,
my
your
salon.
old space.
I can't get into all of it, and I don't know what's going to happen. But it was of course I was going to know the person. And it was like, of course I'm going to like walk up and immediately hug the person. And my landlord's like, what's happening? And I'm like, what's up? And, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my space. And like, they actually walked in. They were like, oh my God, I love your Buddha. I'm like, wait till you see this room. Like, you might want to just keep this room the way it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Right.
But it's just so interesting how life plays out when you really do. I love to pick those things apart. I love to see the parts that go through. I really do. Like, come on, that movie last night. I just feel like it's meant to be.
Movie. I remember like crying when I came out of the movie because I don't remember it, but I'm gonna have to go watch it again because I loved that movie so much.
I'm telling you, like, I feel like it gave me a decent idea of what the Akashic Records are. And it is just that, like, we do exist on many, many planes. We are existing in multiple universes, like right now, all at once, kind of like what, Esther Hicks talks about. And
well, one of the things they said, and they've said it multiple times, everything is there for you. It's already, we've lined it all up. The only thing that hasn't shown up is your focus on it. And I was like, oh, okay. They were like, and every time you trust us, you prove it to yourself.
Yes.
Just trust. Your job is to stop dabbling in trust. Stop dabbling in focus. They didn't say it quite like this. It was much more loving, but it was, and that's why I said I was surprised. I expected it to be like, my guides feel different than that. My guides feel more sweet, right? This was more like stern.
Okay.
But it wasn't bad. It was such a loving experience. So I really think everybody on the earth should enter the Akashic Records, or at least experience, especially because I'd love to know what you guys experience, because you're there. It's going to be different, right?
How did you know, Kim, that it was over? Like, did it literally, the information just stop coming, or you got tired?
I probably could have stayed longer every time. One of the things she says in her book is give yourself a time, because you'll want to stay. You might want to stay. It does feel good when you're in there. But so I just made sure that I didn't stay more than 15 minutes to a half an hour. Plus I was writing in there. So my hand got tired.
I want to go back to this drinking part. And I'm not just kidding about it. No. I'm really serious.
Like,
so it's, how many hours is it?
24 hours. But I kind of feel like that when I do energy readings. What did I miss?
I said I can't do tonight then, because I went and had myself dinner and a cocktail.
Good for you.
Like 2 hours ago.
When I do energy readings, I don't do as well when I drink before.
No, I don't drink before I perform either. So it's like, you know what? It's kind of interesting, because anything that you do, you might feel uninhibited, but your recollection of it is clouded. You're able to focus, which is why you can't focus on driving. You shouldn't be driving, right? So that's very
with your higher self when you do those things, because you want to.
Sometimes
we want to check
interesting.
Out. Yeah. Really think about it. We lose our best guidance when we make a decision to drink.
It's like we walk into an area where there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's where usually, like, places where we meet our partner. When the
Wi-Fi's off. Morning, Will Rogers. Morning. Stay away.
Did you see that video I posted? That, like, isn't it awful that most of us meet each other through dating? And dating is like a very inauthentic way to really get to know someone.
Right.
You're constantly on a job interview.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, my question is, Kim, when you would go out of the records and then come back, would the scenery always be the same?
Yeah, for me. And I'm always surprised. I don't know if I'm making it happen at this point. Like, I really don't. I mean, I could be. I don't know. But every time I feel like I'm walking through a tunnel, and I go through the door, and then I go up the stairs, and then there's a curtain, and then there's another curtain, and then I'm in this white room with people are out in front of me, and there's like drums and maybe some
sounds
flowers.
Like Miami, like the nightclubs in Miami.
Yeah, right.
A white curtain and then another white curtain. That is
I get the whole sound bath vibe. Like, I feel like you're in like some really cool.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Sound bath.
Yeah, like, there's like a sound in there. Like, there's drums all in there. There's a sound in there. It's really interesting. It was the most unexpected thing I've ever done.
No,
and I've done some weird things.
Yeah. Do you hear a voice? Like, do you hear like is it always the same voice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. How would you describe that voice? Is it like a man's voice?
No, it's a female's voice.
Wow.
It's I don't know. Very strong. Like, it just feels very strong.
Like the Arthur?
No.
Or Sophia.
It would be like an English kind of strong, you know,
Oh,
you know,
like
but
Mrs.
not
Potts.
English sounding, but like, you know, a very English lady who, nothing against the English people who are,
Angela
Yeah.
Lansbury.
yeah,
Very
like maybe
straight.
like that, like, you know,
Like Mary Poppins is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like Mary Poppins.
yeah, but it was,
Wow.
but it's not an English accent, I don't think, for me anyway, but it is, but the feeling that my body gets is just so safe and protected. And so, oh, right, I'm not alone doing this. Oh, right. Like, that's how I felt, like, oh, yeah, you people. I forgot about
Where
you
have you
people.
been? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about you people. Right.
Did you get any insight that was like totally out of left field where you're like, wow, where did that come from?
The dabbling stuff. I think the whole thing, every time I go in there, is pretty much not what I'm expecting to get.
Really?
Yeah. And then, like, because I always go in wanting more specific information, and so then I'll try to go to my own guides for that, right? So, and even like the writing I do, because I sometimes do writing to speak to my own guides, that writing feels different. It doesn't feel quite as intensely strong and protected and loved. Nothing against my guides. They're wonderful and helpful, but this is like, it's more of a hush feeling, like you're in a library, right? Like, we got to be quiet because this is very, and you've got to really listen to what's coming to you, because I get the words sometimes word for word, and the words basically were like, basically what I was told was, you found your lesson, you found it, we're so happy you figured it out, now go do it. Right, like,
Right.
all the stuff you teach, go do. You know, that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah.
I did ask them about my children in there, because they say you could ask about how to be a better parent, and I got some information about that too. Once again, I thought it would be much more specific, but it was more like, it was more about what I was supposed to think about my children, and what, I don't want to give away too much of their stuff, but it was basically like, because my children don't get along, and it's distressing to me. And they basically told me that was okay for them.
Yeah,
not to get,
it's not your responsibility.
Right.
It's not your part of the journey.
And their journey really doesn't have a lot to do with each other, which I was surprised. And that they really are on their path, and they're both going to, you know, have to be able to go in their different directions. And that, as a mother, I keep trying to bring them together, but that's really not, and I felt like that was really helpful advice, or I don't know if it was advice, a helpful lesson for me to understand that my job is not to make my kids friends. They're just not going to be. It was a little distressing, but I mean, it's okay. You know, they, you know, I got that they'll love and respect each other. They're just not going to want to hang out with each other, because they both have purposes that are taking them in different directions.
I think that's really amazing. I think it's very true, because I think it's truer for more people. I think the miracle is when people actually do get along. Yeah. I think it's really more often than not that we're all just individual human beings that are being brought here. I don't know. I find it fascinating. I'm listening to a book by Stephen Wright that the book that I bought, I decided, you know, I'm going to listen to it because I'm in the car a lot.
He's a comedian, right?
Yeah, but it's not just a book based on comedy. And he said something really profound in the book. It's all about it's supposed to be thoughts of a 7-year-old third grader in the 60s, and his thoughts that constantly are coming to his head. And one of the things, which is kind of Akashic Records is like, he talks about how he always wondered if there was a way that you could hold a mirror up to your birth date to see when you're supposed to die. Like if we would see the death date, but wait a minute, not like in a morbid way. It's a child having this thought, right?
Right.
And he says, you wonder how many times, if we only knew it, we'd have 2 celebrations a year, one for your birthday and one for the day that you actually don't die yet on that date. But we live life so just going forward, not like really celebrating. And like, how many times do you wonder if, he said, you know, in the book, it's the child saying it, but if like you have, repeat like good days on that day, or you don't know it, but on that specific day that you're going to die, that date, if like that's a day that you like, oh, you trip and you almost like get hurt, but you miss it. It's almost there. And
you know
I
what's
feel
interesting? This is so fascinating. I dated a guy who had that very thing. So he was in the military, he was in war, and things kept happening to him on May 12th. And every time he made it through May 12th, he would be like, I made it through May 12th. I'm very happy. Like he was convinced things were like different things that could have ended his life happened several times on May 12th.
That is the craziest story. Is he still alive?
Yes, he is. But I remember
now
when
I'm just going to be like saying little prayers on May 12th.
Yeah, when we were dating, it was like it's May 12th. He would get like anxiety about May 12th coming up, and then he would be thrilled when it would be over. But several things that would be paramount, like where you would be like, oh my God. You know, he was a police officer and he got shot on that day. And he got in a gunfight it's like crazy stuff. So in the military, he was in a skirmish on May 12th and made it through it. When he worked for the, when he was a police officer, there was a gunfight that he was in May 12th and he got shot. And and a couple of other things happened. It was like,
see, there's a reason I said it. I'm telling you that was a very profound part of the book for me. I actually like rewound it like 3 times because the way that he said it, I think he's brilliant, Stephen Wright. And I think that it's an amazing vehicle to choose to write a book through the eyes of a 7-year-old, because there are such simplistic things, but they are definitely not meant for the stage for comedy. Like, I just think that they're profound. And I think, like, to me, that also goes with this that's what I mean. Like, I feel like there's so many things that if you pay attention, they all link together.
I love the Akashic Records, Donna. I mean,
I know I had that one vodka drink, but I think I'm going to take my chances tonight with the book. I mean,
they're going to kick you out of the hall. They'll be like,
I feel fine. They're going to breathalyze me in the Hall of Records.
Well, I mean, she says you can go in there. It's just, it's kind of like, it'll be a little fuzzy. But
what if it's like the Wizard of Oz?
I don't think they're going to kick you out.
Comes out with the smoke and he's like, who dare?
Yeah, who dare comes in here with a cocktail on their breath.
And you'd be like the lion. Was me.
Like,
put him up.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's fascinating, Kim. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to like learn more about this.
Yeah, I definitely want a reading. I'm putting myself in there for that.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
Right now.
And so our next show, everybody, is going to be June 26th. We have got the summer schedule going on, and you're not going to want to miss June 26th because we have a special guest on. His name is Michael, and you will be able to book a reading at a discount if you are one of the viewers on the show and learn of the secret code to use that evening. I had a reading, and Tracy actually heard the recording. I was able to record it, and every time I talk about it, what do? I forget the type of reading it is because Human design. Thank you, Kim.
I looked it up. I've been studying human design too.
It's fascinating. It's so fascinating.
Cool. I've been looking myself up, my kids up.
Well, you want to know another connection?
Yes.
He mentioned birds to me. He said, do you speak to birds? Do you communicate with birds? And I have been for the past few months, you can look at Facebook, and I'm not just making it up. I've had this fascination with cardinals and robins and all this other stuff, right? I meet Stephen Wright. What's on the cover of his book? Birds. What is in his book? Birds. The entire time of fleeting thought goes through his head. He says about the young boy, and another bird flew through the frame. He describes his mind as having a frame, like a picture frame or an empty window frame, and that a bird flies through, and that's the thought. So he'll say a black bird with a yellow beak that almost looked like a smile came through, and it's just fascinating. I'm loving this book.
That's awesome. It makes me want to go read it.
Yeah, exactly. You could borrow it from me, or you could get it on audiobook, because I just got Audible. But I will say he narrates it, which is very profound because I love his voice. But in a comedy setting, it's interesting to hear him like that. But to hear him reading his book,
is it put you to sleep?
I was driving and I was like, I got to take a break. I was like, You know what I mean?
He's got that monotone
I
voice.
love him though. And he laughs where there's like a ha 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 in the book. He goes, ha 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 ha. I'm like, oh God.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so ready? Let's just see. Let's go Kim first, since Kim brought this beautiful
Kim
evening.
Shared all that info.
Kim, I love you, Kim.
I love you too.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, feeling green. I don't really know.
Easy being
Here we go. It's easy being green. Oh, let me bring myself up to the large screen.
Bring yourself to the light.
All ready? And it is destiny.
Okay.
Your destiny is to blossom and to shine, to transform to an ever greater light,
Light is
dabbler.
the word I've been getting.
All right, dabbler. And the bottom card is green. It is love. The heart of love is the heart of creation. All is possible through love. All is worthwhile for love. May all you think and feel reflect love's eternal truth. Wait, is it green or blue? It's blue. I'm not a liar, if anything. That's blue. Sorry, everybody. I said it was green, but it's blue. Okay.
It's so crazy. And that's what a lot of their messages to me have been about, light and love. It's so funny.
Well, yellow and blue make green. If we're going to get technical.
Yes, we are.
All right, Miss Teresa Locke.
That's so exciting.
Let me get to your energy. Lock it.
There.
Okay.
Someone stick it up. There it is.
Oop, there it is pink. I think it's pink. Oh, precious gift.
Ooh.
It's also blue. Friendship, family, and love are precious gifts. Do not lose sight of what is most important, Tracy Locke.
Yes.
Ooh, sacred source. Ooh. We, your angels, are here to remind you of your magnificence. You are literally an angel in the making, a being of eternal love and light, forever one with God, goddesses, and all creation.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, everybody.
All right, here we go. D-Money.
Akashic Donna. Should she go into the Akashic Records tonight? Or should she just clean her room?
It's awesome.
Okay, you ready? Truth. The best way through the current situation is just speak your truth. Contrary to what you may think, no one will be hurt if you express exactly how you feel.
Wow.
That's great, I think.
Oh.
All right, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Healing. I, the angel of healing, am with you right now. Feel my presence and my unwavering love for you. I have loved you before the dawn of time, and I will love you for all eternity.
Very nice.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I will remind everybody.
And maybe Donna is taking you through your Akashic.
Maybe I'm taking you through your Akashic Records because
Please don't touch anything as you do.
Yes, please don't touch anything. No children allowed. And you may only stay for 30 minutes.
Do shut up.
You may practice the voice of my Akashic.
I am the voice. I am the voice. And here we go. Cuckoo. Please don't forget for the animals, Charlie's Angels, for Rescue Haven, June 24th, 6:30 p.m. It's $45. And you get a lovely pasta dinner with some salad and also some live music from the Big House Unplugged. And it's a cash event, guys. So don't worry about bringing your credit cards. They're no good here. It's like olden times.
Your money is no good here.
Yes, your money is good here.
Oh,
that's all that is good here. Bring your rubles.
Bring your rubles and your
and your beads. So
and your chocolate.
We will be having a lovely 2-week hiatus.
Woo!
And then we will be back on the 26th with a special guest. We'll be putting up lots of banners, lots of lovely things for you to see, to let you know, remind you that on the 26th.
You'll be speaking with an English accent from now until...
From now until then, I will be speaking just like this.
Do tune in to see how we do.
Yes, to see if we're still in character.
I'm not even attempting it.
Ladies.
Well, that was awesome. Kim, thank you so much, seriously, for sharing that information.
So much fun.
It was so interesting, and I cannot wait to check it out.
Thank you so much. Episode 110, the Akashic Records. We are out.
Woo! Have a great week,
Bye.
everybody.
Good night.